Hello mga kawan, welcome po sa One Pilipinas. Welcome to our latest platform po dito sa One Pilipinas na tinatawag na One Politico. Kung saan po natin sama-sama natin pong hihimay-himayin ang mga latest issues po na nagaganap po sa ating politika at ano po ba yung mga general sentiments po ng ating mga kababayan upang matulungan po tayong maintindihan ang mga liderato natin na namamahala po sa ating bansa. Kasama po natin ay napaka-special na guest. Siya po ang aming lead anchor sa Navigating Money Games, si Sir Boss J.
Okay.
Kapatid, dahil ikaw ay sanay sa economic issues. Okay. Ano yun? Course mo ba yun? So anyway, we're gonna be talking about yung pinaka-survey ng presidente. Kasi pinag-uusapan ngayon sa buong bansa. Just a few hours ago, no, lumabas na yung survey, latest satisfaction survey ng ating presidente Bongbong Marcos Jr. na kinonduct po ng SWS. So, babasahin lang namin, no. So, bumaba ang net satisfaction rating ng administrasyon ni President Bongbong Marcos, no. Batay po ang ginawa po nila yung survey during March 2026 survey ng Social Weather Station. Kapatid, so recently, sa to sa mga pinakamababang survey na nakuha ng isang presidente ng Pilipinas. So, ang pinakahuli daw po na nakatanggap ng ganito kababang rating, no, which is really 46% of the samplings na ginamit po ng SWS is dissatisfied o hindi po sila masaya, no, sa pamamahala po ng ating presidente. Ikaw, anong opinion din?
Kapatid, base sa article, ang net satisfaction rating ni President BBM ngayon ay negative 13. Yung huling nangyari ito was 2010 nung time ni President Gloria at negative 45.
Tingin mo kapatid, because the president is a very educated man, no? His father's one of the legendary president in the country and he's very educated, no? Saan nga ba nag-graduate si BBM? So, he studied...
Nag-aral siya sa ibang bansa. Tapos, foreign educated.
Yes.
Diba?
Tapos, syempre, aral din siya sa pamamahala ng kanyang mga magulang. So, ako nagtataka ako, no, despite he was voted unanimously, no, by 31 million strong Filipino people, anong nangyari? Bakit 46% ang hindi masaya, no, sa pamamahala ng presidente nitong March? Actually, ang iniisip ko, yung one of the reasons is yung kung paano nag-react yung mga tao kung paano minanage yung oil price crisis, no, yung oil crisis during March. Kasi nung ginawa nila yung survey, it was during March 20 March yun ba yung simula ng giyera?
Yes. Actually, ang nangyari kasi dito is kung titignan natin yung nangyari last year nung kasagsagan ng DPWH scandal.
Flood control, March.
Flood control scandal, I think towards the latter half of the year, may nakita pa akong survey na nasa positive siya eh.
Oh.
Nalaman natin, ngayon, March, negative siya. Bakit kaya? Marahil nagsimula ang giyera sa Middle East or sa Iran at saka US nung katapusan ng Feb or simula ng March.
Yeah.
So, possibly, isa sa mga rason kung bakit ang laking negative ng survey niya is because noong mga panahong yun, dire-diretso ang pagtaas ng gasolina. Diba? Sobrang nagmahal ang lahat ng mga basic commodities. Gasolina, nakita natin, dire-diretso ang pag-angat. Kasunod nun, nagmahal ang mga presyo ng pagkain. And aside from that, syempre yung electricity, nagmahal din. Biruin mo, ang diesel, naalala ko kung nagpapakarga prior nung US-Iran war, nasa around 60 pesos per liter.
Yeah.
Nung kasagsagan, parang lumampas pa yata ng 100 pesos per liter.
Yes.
So I think yun yung isa sa mga malaking contribution kung bakit dissatisfied yung mga tao.
Pero ako, question ako, since you are economic guy, no? Does the president can really control the oil price in the country? Since the reason of the oil price hike is a world crisis, it's a battle between US and Iran. So, yung pagtaas kasi ng presyo ng gasolina nung panahon na yon, it is because of the gera, which is not really entirely the fault of President Marcos. So, ang question ko, is it, kaya ba na isang presidente ng Pilipinas, it's a third world country, na i-counter yung impact ng isang world crisis? Gets?
Alam mo, depende yan sa perspective, no? Unang-una sa lahat, pagsasabihin natin umangat yung presyo ng langis sa buong mundo, well, yes, it's true. Nagmahal siya, kaya automatic, mas mahal yung mga binibili nating gasolina, at diesel. Pagdating dito sa Pilipinas, mas mahal din ibebenta. Pero tandaan natin, pagdating dito sa economy sa Philippines, may mga taxes tayo, yung mga cost mo to import. Naalala natin, meron VAT, merong excise tax, ganyan. So, possible pa rin naman na makontrol ng presidente or ng mga nasa politika yung impact ng pagtaas ng presyo. Naalala mo, parang I think it was around end of March or April, pinag-uusapan, pag umabot sa X amount of dollars per barrel yung langis, baka temporarily tanggalin yung certain taxes. Actually, magandang ideya yun. Pero ang execution lang, sana agaran. Kasi tandaan mo, around 2022, kung hindi ako nagkamali, nagkaroon na rin tayo ng isang ganitong sitwasyon. Ito yung time na sinugod naman ni Russia si Ukraine. During that time,
PRD admin.
During that time, sumipa rin pataas ang presyo ng langis sa world market. Diba? So, since nakita natin yun dati, sana nagkaroon na tayo ng ideya kaagad na what if may black swan event or hindi inaasahang pangyayari, ganito yung magiging automatic reaction natin.
To be fair with the President, the President Marcos Jr. through DSWD, through his cabinets, nagbigay siya ng parang program to support or parang stipend, 'di ba? Parang ayuda for the jeepney drivers, 'di ba? I think iniisip ko na kung saan nanggagaling yung samplings, no? Kung saan man nag-survey yung SWS is paano yung nagbigay nga ng ayuda for the jeepney drivers, yon sa mga public utility vehicle. Paano naman yung mga middle class na may sasakyan na lang pinaka nag-suffer, and yung mga Grab drivers na pinaka nag-suffer dun sa oil price hike. So medyo kinulang kasi dun sa program para dun sa mga taong ramdam din talaga. Kasi hindi nagkulang si President Marcos through the DSWD magbigay ng ayuda. Pero paano yung mga pribadong tao na hindi naman sila jeepney driver Hindi paano sila kukuha ng ayuda. Kaya lang, ramdam nila yung oil price hike. May usap-usapan, I think, mas mo yan, no? May mga stocks daw yung mga gas company, oil companies. May mga stocks sila na pwede naman daw i-release. And ang question ko, can the President really, at that time, may mga speculations po, no, sa among businessmen, lalo na yung mga SMEs, na bakit hindi kinumand ng Presidente na i-release nyo na lang or parang give a reasonable price dun sa oil. Kasi nga meron naman kayong existing storage. Pero anong nangyari, sumabay pa din sila dun sa pagtaas ng presyo na apektado yung majority of the population. This is why I think the Filipino people are very sad about how the leadership or this administration managed the oil price hike.
Okay, kapatid, base sa mga naririnig ko, yung existing inventory ng mga panahong yun ng mga oil companies is may tinatawag kasing replacement cost . So, kung ibenta nila ng mababa pa rin, syempre yung pagbili nila, yung pag-replace nila, mataas na. So, most probably, sinasabay nila yung pag-angat sa pagbaba. Ganun. Parang ina-average lang nila. Pero alam mo ba, ang kagandahan sa ginawa ng administrasyong ito is humingi sila ng suporta, humingi sila ng tulong. I believe may mga bansa na nag-release, nagbigay sa atin ng mga additional stocks ng langis nila para magamit natin. Siyempre, if pagdating sa politics, if magandang relationship mo sa ibang bansa, magtutulungan kayo. Which is, sa tingin ko naman, maganda ang relationship ng administrasyon na to dun sa mga bansang yon, tulad ng Japan at China. 'Diba?
Yeah, in fairness with the president kasi parang nakita naman po natin yun sa mga balita, no, na parang he's very active in dialogue, no, in supporting na magkaroon ng peaceful relations ang Iran at the US, which I feel also na sana na-appreciate rin ng mga tao o ng mga Filipino people the effort of the president kasi nga he's trying to address the root cause of the oil price hike. 'Di ba? So he joined supporting na kailangan magkaayos ang Iran. Nasa balita naman yun eh. The Philippines through the president is really advocating for na magkaayos ang US at Iran. 'Di ba? So na sana although naiintindihan naman natin yung mga mamamayang Pilipino, ang gusto kasi nila isang solusyon na ramdam. 'Di ba? Kailangan kasi ang ramdam is across the board. 'Di ba? Across the board na pagbaba. Pero yun nga, you're explaining there's the replacement cost, mga tax, and just really going back to the president, no? Ang dami palang kino-consider na isang presidente ng Pilipinas bago niya ipababa yung presyo. Kasi ang iniisip lang nila, going back to that's one of the reasons kasi na hindi sila naging masaya eh. Pero sa totoo lang, pag presidente ka ng Pilipinas, ang dami mo palang dadaanan.
Kapatid
Diba?
na isipin mo na lang, bilang isang normal na halimbawa, head of the family,
Yes, correct.
ang hirap na, ang dami mong iniisip.
Correct.
Paano pa yan pag ikaw yung head ng country?
Correct.
'Di ba? Ang hirap niyan, ang dami mong kailangan i-consider.
Yes. Oh, kunwari,
Hindi mo kayang i-satisfy lahat.
totoo, and nasa constitution din, 'di ba? The president is the father of or the head of the family. No, na parang he gave his best eh. And at the same time, tama yung perspective eh. We have to look at the president as the father of the country. And he's trying to, and he's also a law-abiding person. So, ang nangyayari kasi nga, he's also following government processes. 'Di ba? So, parang, na sana, maintindihan, and that's why we're doing this. 'Di ba? That's why we're doing this One Politico and One Politics sa One Pilipinas because we wanted to bridge the government and the Filipino people. And so that we will not waste our energy getting angry. 'Di ba? Getting angry and instead focusing on really building the lives that we want, 'di ba? So, yun yung nakikita ko doon na parang sana let's just really humanize the president also. He gave his best eh. 'Di ba? So, yeah. So, bakit? Another thing is really yung patong-patong na yun, kapatid, you mentioned kanina yung flood control projects issues. Kasi,
Oo, ito yung last year nagsimula.
Yeah. Oh,
Tapos
kasi,
hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin tapos.
yes, so before the US and Iran oil price hike kasi, is, anong nangyari is, yung flood control projects expose.
Mm.
So, yan yung isa sa mga naging cause ng dissatisfaction ng mga botante or ng mga mamamayang Pilipino.
I think that's one of the reasons kung bakit bumaba siguro yung satisfaction rating ni PBBM. Diba? Kasi isipin mo, ang daming tao iniisip, uy, ang lalaki ng halagang pera na yun, saan napunta?
Yes.
Ilang tao yung nakinabang, paano naman sila or paano kami, ganon, diba?
You know, I have a really comment on that eh. Kasi parang, I'm seeing this really objectively, no? The flood control projects, those that are involved there are really, of course, there are cabinet members, diba? And yet to be proven,
Wala pa...
we will trust the legal process, diba? Our legal process. But the thing is, those who are involved in the flood control projects are mostly, they're in Congress, diba? They're in Congress. And it is really totally opposite, malayo siya sa presidente. Hindi naman sa naghuhugas siya ng kamay, pero we really have to study the issue. Those are individual projects of congressmen. So, the question is, there's a separation of powers between the president and the congressman. Kung pag-iisipan natin, how are we connecting it to the president? Tapos, kaya nga, siya yung nag-conduct ng investigation. Siya nagtawag ng investigation.
Kapatid, ito lang para mas clear lang sa lahat. Pagdating sa government, merong legislative,
Of course.
merong judiciary,
Tama.
at saka executive.
Yes.
Tama, okay.
At ang legislative composes of the lower house, which is the House of Representative or Congress, and then Senate, the upper house.
So, yun lang. Just to make things clear,
Yeah.
yung mga possibly involved, hindi pa natin alam kung confirmed ba kasi wala pang final decision,
Yes.
is ang ano yung mga nakikita natin is it's mostly sa legislative side, tama ba?
Yeah. So most of the those are kasi remember it started is I think there's an expose. This is for for validation from the OVP side, 'di ba? Meron sa balita, 'di ba? Nagkaroon ng expose there. Then si former deputy si Sir Saldico made an expose about the flood control projects. Then there's an investigation, parang it's a can of worms, di ba? And then the people are pointing at, or the existing news, they're pointing at to the president. But nobody's actually telling in the room, isn't it the president's the one who's actually calling for the investigation? Right? So parang, siya mismo, he's taking, which is there's separation of powers, no? He's making the legislators they're being held accountable. And mind you, some are his former allies. Diba?
So
yeah.
Kapatid, ang tanong ko dito, tama ba si executive nag-order ng investigation kay legislative?
I think it is the right thing to do as the father of the country.
Okay.
Right.
Kapatid, I just want to clarify na separate kasi sila.
Yes. Oo.
Since separate sila, possible bang may influence ni executive si legislative?
That's a legal query, no? So that's kung may mga audience kami, you can actually comment in this video if there's a possibility. But I think it's as the father of the country, as the president, and the entire nation is in crisis, no? So, he needs to make a stand. Diba?
Mm-hmm.
Kailangan, kumbaga sa Tagalog, kailangan niya magpakalalaki. Diba? And ang nangyayari kasi because the Speaker of the House or the Leader of the Congress, which is kasi nga puro congressman yung involved doon sa flood control, is dahil relative ng presidente yung leader ng Speaker of the House or one of the people who are involved in the flood control project sa Congress, dinudugtong sa kanya. Diba? So,
tama.
And there's a clamor from the Filipino people, hey, it's your cousin eh. So he took an action, he responded to the call of the people, which makes us wonder, how come the people are not really feeling that? He's in Malacanang, the Speaker of the House is in Commonwealth, and he's handling more than 13 million Filipino people. Diba? How can you expect someone na alam niya yung ginagawa no ano? But the man is taking, nakita nila yung pagkukulang nung tao, pero hindi nila nakita kung paano nanindigan yung presidente. Diba?
Alam mo, kung iisipin mo, di ba, may kasabihan nga, blood is thicker than water. Pero, since in-order niya itong investigation na to sa kamag-anak ng wife niya, ibig sabihin nito is, hindi blood is thicker than water. The man is fair.
Correct.
Tama?
Correct.
Diba? So, siguro,
at malaking risk sa kanya considering if you notice the pattern of the Romualdeses and the Marcoses. Napaka makapamilya nila. And me also, I'm an Ilocano, so parang we are very clannish. So, although waray si Speaker Martin, but still, the mindset or parang culture ng mga Ilocano, they're very clannish. The tendency is to really protect. Pero nakita natin, I love what you said, di ba? Supposedly, blood is thicker than water. Hindi natin narinig. Usually, ang trapong politiko sa Pilipinas, sasabihin nila, walang pamilya, di ba? We did not hear that from the president, but what we heard from him is kailangan imbestigahan yung mga involved sa flood control. Mas prioritize niya ang mga Pilipino, regardless kung kadugo niya o hindi, over sa relative niya. Na, again, we would like to establish sa one politiko na yet to be proven. Magsisimula pa lang po ang investigation sa ombudsman. We're not accusing anyone. Pero, yun ang maganda sana makita natin. Going back to the low satisfaction rating ng Pangulo. We're not saying he's a perfect guy. But the guy is really doing his job. And, yun yung nakita natin. Pinili ng presidente ni President Marcos Jr. na kampihan. Pakinggan. Vox Populi. Ano bang clamor ng Pilipino? Imbestigahan nyo. So, nagkaroon ng investigasyon. So, parang, which makes us wonder, why? And another question to the Filipino people, these are the same congressmen who gave you ayudas. Right? So parang biglang, nung nagkaroon ng isang expose na ito, biglang lahat na ng accomplishment, again, I'm not related to Speaker Martin, but also, millions of pesos were given na ayuda. At yung tao, hindi pa po convicted, although there's overwhelming information online, pero we have to trust the legal process. The Philippines is not, hindi naman po korte ang social media. 'Di ba? So parang hindi pa po final ang nangyayari po, and I'm not defending him, pero I'm all for democracy. I'm all for the right legal process. So parang nangyari, paano na yung mga naitulong nila? Although, to be fair, karapatan din po ng mga mamamayang Pilipino, dapat tinuloy nyo, dapat tama yung infrastruktura. Correct? Dapat tinayo nyo pa rin yun despite of it. Kasi yun yung morally. But again, the issue is in the lower house. It is not in the executive branch.
Mhm.
And as the father of the country, under the Constitution, the President needed to make a stand kasi nagbabangayan na yung buong Pilipinas. Hindi makapag-focus. Ang mga magulang, ang mga kapatid, ang mga bata, mga kabataan sa kolehiyo, instead of focusing on their personal life, building it, ang nangyayari, nakafocus sila sa politika. And our young people are being drained because of the bangayans. Diba?
Tama, kapatid. Kung iisipin mo, tayo, kailangan nating magtulungan, yung buong Pilipinas. Dahil sa mga nangyayaring ito, dahil sa kagagawan ng ilang mga tao, isipin nyo, nawala ang confidence ng mga foreign investors.
Yun lang. Yun.
Anong ibig sabihin nito pag nawala yung confidence ng mga foreign investors? Malaki ang posibilidad na hindi sila magpapasok ng pera sa Pilipinas para mag-expand ng negosyo o gumawa ng negosyo dito.
Mm.
Kung walang negosyo, anong ibig sabihin nun? Walang trabaho yung karamihan ng mga Pilipino. Yung mga posibleng makuha nilang, for example na lang, kung magpapatayo ng office, construction worker. Kung may office na, edi office worker. Ano pang ibig sabihin nun? Kung gagawa sila ng negosyo dito, ibig sabihin kailangan nila ng office space or retail space. 'Di ba? Kung saan sila magbebenta ng mga kung ano-ano man yung benta nila or restaurant, ganyan. So, ang daming mawawalan ng trabaho, ang daming mawawalang opportunity. Kaya tingin ko importante suportahan natin yung justice system.
Correct. Yes.
Tingnan natin kung ano talaga ang mapapatunayan, ano yung mga tunay na nangyari bago tayo gumawa ng isang desisyon. Actually, yung desisyon na yun is tayo rin naman yung nagdesisyon kung sino yung mga nilagay natin sa pwesto.
Correct. That's why we're doing this, kasi we have to reflect on kami rin po, we're really taking full accountability of our choices way back 2022. So parang I think one of the key thing para po mag-breakthrough tayo dito sa nangyayaring krisis sa bansa in the middle of this political crisis is to really, as mga mamamayang Pilipino, mga pribadong tao po kami, private citizens kami, is to really take full accountability o angkinin po natin yung mga naging desisyon nating pagboto noong 2022. Tayo lang naman nakakaalam kung ano nilagay natin doon sa mga papel na yun Ngayon, kung nandito po sila, kailangan po natin din silang panindigan. Kung pinanindigan na tayo, panindigan din po natin yung mga desisyon natin. So how are we going to do that as a nation bilang one Pilipinas? It was really to focus on solutions. It is really to trust the leadership as of now. Actually, ako, Boss Jay, sa akin lang naman to if we will be focusing on impeachment, it would also magiging destabilize ang Pilipinas. So if we trust the leadership right now, or if we stick to it right now, there would be more stability. Sabi nga ni Boss Jay, if there would be destabilization through, for example, an impeached vice president, if the vice president would be impeached, there would be another crisis, another adjustment. Ang mangyayari po, ang mga ating mga foreign investors and also our mga businessmen, middle class man yan, or mga big investors natin, or mga big businessmen, maapektuhan din po sila. Apektado na naman ang ekonomiya. So if we actually stick to this, ito yung pinili ng majority ng 31 million, we have to stick with it so that the country would be stable. There would be more Boss Jay, somebody asked me, diba, nasa ng loyalty mo? Diba? Where's your loyalty? Is it in this Marcos administration or the previous administration or to whatever color to it? My answer is, my loyalty is to the Filipino people. Because I cannot afford an unstable government. Kasi pag unstable ang gobyerno, kawawa, hindi naman yung mga mayayaman eh. Hindi naman yung mga middle class eh. Kawawa yung pinakamahirap sa baba. 'Di ba? Ang daling magbangayan, ang daling sumuporta sa mga nagbabalikang If we're gonna be supporting this, if we're gonna be pushing for this, destabilize na naman po.
Kapatid, eto, kakasabi mo lang, kawawa ang mga nasa ibaba. Hindi ako nag-a-agree, hindi rin ako nagdi-disagree. Pero ito yung kailangan nating tignan. Bakit kawawa ang mga nasa baba? Yung mga nasa baba, sila kadalasan yung mga nagtatrabaho, yung mga minimum wage earner, yung mga umaasa sa umangat sa corporate setup, ganyan. Ngayon, kung iisipin natin marami na akong nakita since start of pandemic, mga negosyante, mga well-educated na nasa corporate na nagtatrabaho, umaalis ng Pilipinas. Ang dami nilang reklamo. Ngayon, pag-isipan natin ng mabuti. Let's start with yung mga negosyanteng umaalis ng Pilipinas. Kung umalis yung isang negosyante sa Pilipinas, anong ibig sabihin nun? Sinarado niya ang negosyo niya. Pag sinarado ang negosyo niya, anong nangyari? Yung mga empleyado sa negosyo niya, walang trabaho. Okay. Sila yung unang affected. Pangalawa, yung inuupahan niyang tindahan, wala na rin umuupa. Ibig sabihin, wala nang rental income yung may-ari ng building o ng space na yon. Diba? Isipin mo, kung maraming ganun, anong mangyayari sa economy natin? Diba?
Yes. So, parang mangyayari kasi po, 'di ba, yung parang iba't ibang levels ng 'di ba, ng society. So, for example, yung mga pinakamayaman, 'di ba, yung mga mayaman.
So, mga may kaya.
May kaya po, tapos yung middle class, tapos yung mga poorest of the poor. So, mangyayari pag yung mga middle class, yung sinabi ni Boss J, umalis ng bansa, mas lalaki po yung gap. And based on history, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in the West, kapag lumaki po yung gap between the poorest of the poor and the privileged ones, mataas po ang tendency magkaroon ng civil unrest. 'Di ba po? So parang rallies, gulo, so nang mangyayari dyan, ganun na naman, instability. So again, just really going back, no? So parang going back on the satisfaction ratings of the president, nagsimula tayo sa isa sa mga reason kasi nga March nag-start yung SWS survey. So yun yung oil price hike, no, yung pag-manage doon ng administration, and then and prior to that, it was the really flood control project issue, no. And bago ang lahat ng nangyari yon, is isa sa mga pinaka nag-start ng pagbaba ng ratings ng presidente is really yung breakup, no, ng unity team, no, ng VPs ni BBM or ni President Marcos Jr. or ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Pero ang interesting kasi doon is bumababa, parehas naman sa totoo lang, ang na-emphasize lang sa articles, pero yung kay VP Sara rin kasi bumababa, no. So parang one of the reasons daw na bumaba is ang pag-breakaway. Ang sa akin naman, let's all go back to the satisfaction. 'Di ba po? Ang satisfaction, maaring nagsimula po sila, ang naging approach nila sa pagpanalo sa kampanyahan is to work together, no? Pero kung nagkaroon sila ng paghihiwalay, let's also see, is the president doing his job as a president well? Is Vice President Sara doing their job individually well? Because for me, nakikita ko sa programs ng dalawa, if you visit their both Facebook pages, they're doing their projects, their roles individually quite good, 'di ba? So parang let's all go back to the satisfaction. Ang satisfaction po kasi subjective 'yan eh. Kung kailangan po natin, balik lang tayo, we need a stable government. And we need to be a people na maninindigan sa mga pinili nating binoto natin noong 2022. So we have to learn, sa part ng paninindigan is also to be learning to be satisfied also, or learning to understand the imperfections that ang mga leaders natin, they're also human. No? Like the president. Many people are really expecting the president to be like Marcos Sr. He is a man of his own. He might learn a lot from his dad, but he is a man of his own. If you actually compare, a lot of his programs and projects that were already executed are very progressive. Even kay VP Sara, she's also experiencing the same pressure. That she's not like her dad, but she's also a woman of her own. A very progressive one. She supports AI when she was a DepEd secretary. She's doing a lot of outreach works, diba? Na doon siya nag-DDN. So parang both of them, it's just a matter of ano pa po ba yung hinahanap natin sa ating mga liderato.
Kapatid.
Worth it ba na magkagulo tayo? Worth it ba yon para magkaroon tayo ng destabilization through a change of leadership in one branch of the government para mag-destabilize po ang ekonomiya at maapektuhan na naman po ang mga mamamayan much worse than what we're experiencing right now.
Kapatid, sa akin ang tanong ko lang, bakit hindi tayo magkaroon ng world peace? Bakit yung unity team hindi pwedeng mag-unite, magkaroon ng unity? Pag magtulungan naman sila, ang mangyayari dito is, since magaganda ang mga proyekto nila, magkakaroon ng magandang satisfaction ang lahat ng mga Pilipino, 'di ba? Lahat makikinabang.
Yes.
'Di ba? Parang ano lang yan, tag team sila.
Yes.
Tapos kunyari sa basketball, all-star team. Magtutulungan.
Correct.
Kanya-kanyang forte, kanya-kanyang gawa.
And I mean, Boss J, they don't really have to like each other or be friends again, no? What it's a matter is, if the president is focusing as the president of the country, the vice president is focusing as the vice president of the country, that's really enough. 'Di ba? Kasi ang nangyayari, the people in between, which we don't know yet, 'di ba? There are people in between, pinagbabangayan yung dalawang branches of the government. Distracted lahat eh. 'Di ba? So, ang tingin natin dyan is to really, why not the both of them, they're just really focus on their roles, the country will be okay. And let's also, dahil sa atin po mga mamamayang Pilipino, ang mga liderato natin, nakikinig rin sila sa mga sentimiento natin. Kung tayo, we're always trying to look, si VP Sara, hindi siya katulad ni BBM. The president is not like VP Sara. Talaga magkakagulo din po yung dalawa. Kasi tayo din mismo po, lagi tayo may hinahanap. Instead of really appreciating the good things that they're doing, the two individuals, honestly, they don't have to be best friends. What's really required of them is to be faithful as being the president, being faithful as the vice president. So, ang tingin po natin dito, more than the satisfaction ratings of the president, it is really also our satisfaction. Ano pa po ba yung hinahanap natin sa ating presidente na sa totoo lang at sa ating vice presidente? Kasi marami ring haters ang si Vice President Sara. And mind you, as I really, Boss J, conclude, for me, observing Ma'am Sara, she has a lot of stress. Many people are really, some dislike VP Sara because of her temper. But, hindi nila nakikita, how did it take, kung ano ba yung pinagdaanan niya, paano siya mag-react doon, at ano ba yung mga bagay na ikinakagalit niya. Usually, si Ma'am Sara is really soft, she really has a soft spot for the small people, if you observe her, at hindi po yan basta magagalit. Sa tingin ko lang po, na-observe ko siya na media, I don't know her personally, kapag napupush siya sa wall niya. And if she's actually defending someone, katulad nung first year college kami, di ba, may sinuntok siya, but at that time, kaya niya sinuntok yun, she was defending a big community na pwedeng ma-demolish. So try to really, whether you're on the side of Vice President Sara, whether on the side of the President, it's really a matter of para ma-manage po natin yung satisfaction din natin. Kasi kailangan yan din ng mga liderato natin dyan eh. It's really looking at them as also humans. Tao din po sila, katulad natin. And I also hope everything that we're witnessing right now with the Uni team, we have to reflect on our choices. What are our existing values? Why do we have this kind of leaders? Maybe we are also broken also. It's not just about the Uni team. It is actually the brokenness of us being Filipinos. So this is more than just numbers. It is really our own being as Filipino people. That's why we have this, Boss J. That's why we have this one Politico, because you have to analyze things in a very healthy way. kailangan din po tayo ng ating mga liderato na balansehin. Hindi lang po puro galit, hindi lang puro ines, hindi lang puro chismis. Mind you, we are a country of laws and legal system. Sabi nga ni Boss J, we have to trust the justice system. Marami pa rin po maayos na kawani ng gobyerno that are willing or fighting for good governance. And let's trust them. Hindi pa po tapos, sasalang pa lang sila sa ombudsman. At for the record, ang ombudsman po at ang Sandigan Bayan ay ang korte para to make the public servants accountable. It's not the Senate, it's not the Congress. Right? So, yun yung po. Marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan dito sa One Politico, lalo na po dito galing kay Boss J. So, Boss J, would you like to say a few lines as we close?
Alam niyo, kung titignan natin, lahat may balanse. Ibig sabihin, hindi lahat mabuti, hindi lahat masama sa isang tao. Ang pinaka-importante lang para maayos natin yung Pilipinas at saka mabigyan ng magandang satisfaction yung mamamayan ng Pilipinas is magtulungan. Kailangan magtulungan para makapagbigay ng mga magagandang proyekto para lahat makinabang.
Maraming salamat po, Boss J, sa napaka-meaningful na talakayan dito po sa One Politico po. Mali po ako si Omni. Ang aking loyalty po ay nasa mamamayan and sana po makasama po namin kayo sa uli dito sa One Politico para sa mga susunod na discussion sa mga latest political issues sa ating bansa. Good night po.